Nothing could be weirder than discovering you are related to a priest, as Molly discovered when her parents told her they were going to visit Father Mike, who was, in fact, and also, Cousin Mike. A cousin twice removed, so calculated Mom. Not, obviously, a cousin Molly's age, a being Molly longed for when lonely, which was often. The reasons Molly didn't know she had a cousin Mike were several. His entry into holy orders was sudden and alarming to his family, all only feebly Christian, and even fewer actually Catholic. Molly's family, the May family, were among the few, though the church was for them very much a Christmas spectacular only. Mike was located by the church in the Southwest, far from his East Coast relations, and finally, Mike was a terrible correspondent. However, when the church relocated Father Mike to a parish among the Finger Lakes of New York, Cousin Mike sent a card to the May family with a short but entertaining note and a holiday photo of himself standing with a group of overweight old ladies and another priest in front of St. Joseph's Church. Mom asked, "Where's his collar?" To which Molly said, "Here," and pointed to the collar of Cousin Mike's purple shirt. Mom and Dad laughed. "Not all priests wear collars," Dad explained, and to Molly her father explained what her mother meant. "The church is lightening up," Dad said. "Whatever," said Mom. A month passed, but the May family's resolve to visit Cousin Mike remained strong enough for a call to be placed and for plans to be made. That the May family car was not outfitted with a DVD player or a game console was a cruelty Molly was forced to endure because her parents thought it was better for the family to play travel games and to listen to Dad's music, some of which Molly very much liked, and to talk and to sing. Mom's beautiful voice effortlessly eased Molly into sleep, or at least into Molly's sleepy daydream house. But when Dad joined in and Molly was expected to, the magic disappeared. "Dad, can just Mom sing?" Dad seemed to understand and would be quiet for a while or absent-mindedly whistle, which was okay. And Molly really enjoyed travel games because she was very good at them, often beating Dad. Mom was more of a challenge. All this was to say that mostly May family drives were pretty fun, but a DVD player would have been nice. Even Mom and Dad had to admit that by the 5th hour of the drive to Cousin Mike's, they themselves were ready to call it quits. The sky was gray the entire time, and for a little while there was snow and then rain. Mom asked Dad 100 times if he needed a break from driving. He was a little afraid to let anyone else drive. At last he acquiesced and snoozed for a half hour before Mom woke him to navigate the minor right and lefts that would lead to St. Joseph's Church. "I don't know how to act," Mom said, as they drove into the empty parking lot between the church and the rectory. "He's just family, your family." Cousin Mike must have been watching from a window because he appeared at the driver's side door with a huge umbrella and opened the door for Mom. She stepped out under the umbrella and Cousin Mike leaned into the car. "Just hang on a minute and I'll come back for you." Dad opened his door anyway and opened a little tote umbrella over his own head. "Wait for Cousin Mike," he told Molly, and walked around to the trunk. There wasn't a lot of luggage. The plan was to spend the night with Cousin Mike, then visit Aunt Amy on the way back. Molly sat up on her knees in the back seat and watched her father through the small gap created by the open trunk lid. "Molly?" Cousin Mike's voice startled her, and she jumped. "Didn't mean to scare you. Come on, I'm sure you're tired of the back seat." Cousin Mike was right about that. Molly got out under his big umbrella and felt safe under the big umbrella, next to the priest who wore khakis and a polo button-down shirt. He had a big stomach, though not in a gross way, and a mustache, which Molly found very interesting. Once inside the rectory, Cousin Mike led everyone to his sitting room. Set out on a side table was cheese, a bottle of wine, a slim pitcher of grape juice, and a box of crackers. Everything in the room was dark. Above a fireplace was a clock, a circular slab cut from a tree with Roman numerals and brass hands. There was a couch with a high back, nothing too comfortable, and brass lamps on either side. 2 wing chairs were set side by side with a small table between them. Most of the pictures on the walls were photographs of churches or clergymen. Above the couch was a brass bas-relief portrait of the Last Supper. One of the pictures, a contrast to everything else in the room, was a drawing of the evil fairy from Disney's Sleeping Beauty. Molly recognized it immediately and said, "That's Maleficent." Cousin Mike rewarded her with a great smile. "Absolutely correct," he said. Dad strolled over to the picture and looked at it closely. Cousin Mike put a hand on Mom's shoulder and said, "Would you like some wine?" Mom visibly relaxed. "Oh, yes." "After a long drive in bad weather," Cousin Mike said, without bothering to finish his sentiment. "Yes," Mom said. "And Molly, would you like some juice?" She nodded, still very pleased with herself for correctly identifying the picture. Much to Molly's pleasure, her juice was poured into a crystal wine glass. "Is this real?" Dad asked. "It is," Cousin Mike said. "It's the only thing in this room, aside from the cheese, that I bought. The wine is courtesy of Father Dale, by the way, who isn't here but wanted to wish you all a pleasant stay, and frankly to show off his excellent taste in wine. He has a bottle or two set aside to go with our dinner." Mom helped herself to a few slices of cheese, then sat down on the couch. "Wow," Dad said. "Molly, take a look at this." Cousin Mike said, "Take it off the wall so she can see better," which Dad did, gingerly. Molly approached the picture hesitantly, keen to the fact that it was somehow valuable, though she wasn't sure how that could be. "This," Dad said, "is an animation cell." He looked at Cousin Mike. "Is that right?" "Yes." Cousin Mike put together a big selection of cheese. He looked at Mom and said, "Triple cream, be sure you get some." He put his plate and wine glass on the little table between the wing chairs and set to making a fire. Dad explained to Molly about how animation was done before computers. One frame at a time, all hand-drawn. Molly hadn't considered this before. She'd seen plenty of the old animated films, but was more familiar with, and preferred, digitally animated movies. They looked more realistic. "That sounds so boring," she said. Cousin Mike said, "It is. A few flames ate at the paper beneath the logs and the kindling caught. But it has its satisfactions. Working like that, drawing a film frame by frame, reminds me of hand copying the Bible." He sat down on the wing chair closest to the fire. "Is that predictable of me?" Dad made up a plate for Molly, who sat next to her mother. She tasted the triple cream brie, put the rest on Mom's plate. "Careful with your grape juice," Mom said. "I will." Cousin Mike said, "Don't worry too much. The couch is supposed to be stain sealed or something like that. You could test it out. It's an ugly couch besides." Molly liked Cousin Mike, and so did Mom and Dad. He put them all at ease. "I bought that cell as a souvenir of sorts. Before I went to seminary, I thought my calling was to work as an animator. Got all the way to California and even got myself hired to work on a cartoon." He addressed Molly. "Did you ever watch Spider and the Undiscovered Bug?" Molly shook her head. "Well, that's good. It was terrible. I guess you're not like every other child who'll watch anything as so long as it's on TV." Mom said, "No, she'll watch anything." Molly poked Mom. "That's not true. I just never heard of that show." "Maybe it was a little before your time. You're 10, right?" "Yes." "Very good. I try not to ask children their age." He popped a cracker smothered in brie into his mouth. "Too much computer work, too little drawing. I did that for about a month. I was miserable." Mom said, "And that's when you decided to become a priest?" "Well," Cousin Mike smiled, "soon after." "Why did you decide to become a priest?" Dad asked. "Why did I decide? You know, I tell most people that I was moved by the Holy Spirit who blew into my life as the Spirit does, and that I felt empty doing what I thought I wanted to do, and that the Lord spoke to me in His way, and that's true, but it's not the whole story." Cousin Mike got up and brought the pitcher of grape juice to Molly. "You look like you could use some more." Molly smiled and held out her glass. "And who wants more wine?" Cousin Mike poured more for everyone. "Father Dale does no good wine. Always finds it cheap, too. This bottle..." Cousin Mike poured the last of it into his glass. "Just $10. Cousin Mike sat down, picked up the poker, and adjusted one of the logs in the fireplace. The flames grew brighter. "I don't usually tell the whole story because it's personal, and because I don't want to be known as Crazy Father Mike. But this is what happened.